culture of the Filipinos. Di ba? Forever na. We cannot seem to change it, and we must. It is not true that public life is only for men. It is not true, in fact, for my family, because when I woke up in this world, my mother was a politician and my father was a judge. So, again, I am not a very good example. But this is the truth. Women don't run because it's expensive, because they don't have control of the finances of their families. And the men, they take it upon themselves as if it is, you know, society's, what do you call this, rule, which is not true, that public life should be for men only, and the women should stay at home or should have other professions and take care of the children after work. So, the women have triple burdens. Okay, so, again, look at all the women who are in Congress and in the Senate. They're rich women. Is it not? Because they're able to transcend these obstacles. The culture, the financial obstacle, and the parties, the political parties, the gatekeepers are men. Oh, again, they're going to say, yan talaga si Commissioner Guanzon, men hater yan. That's not true, huh? I like a few good men. A few. The political parties, the gatekeepers are men. And they have this boys network. And if the gatekeepers are men, they don't really want the women during their, closed door session, because the conversation changes. The tone of the discussions and the topics change. Every time there's a woman, and that's true all over the world. So that's why I am asking personally, as chair of the Gender and Development Executive Committee, personally, I am asking the political parties to voluntarily have a women's quota. Voluntarily have some sort of quota and, find women candidates who are, let's say, 30%, 40%, 50% of their candidates nationwide. And I still have the proposal, which is now being studied by the law department, the law director, and our election statistics director, that my proposal is, and I said this is a proposal and it's not been passed by the Commission and Bank, that when we determine the major dominant political party and the dominant majority party and the dominant minority party, we should add points to the political parties that will field, let's say, 30%, 40%, or 50% candidates. For example, if they file 50% women candidates, we will add 10 points to their total. And, it raises their chances of being named the dominant minority party, for example, even if not all of their candidates won, even if the candidates that they fielded did not win.
So, are there no more questions? Yeah? Yes, ma'am.
Sir, kay Commissioner rin po. Unusual po ba, or is it a normal occurrence na napakarami pong incumbent and former senators filing their certificate of candidacy in a midterm elections? Kasi parang I noticed yung in total ng incumbent and those former senators returning outnumber already the slots available, yung 12.
Ah, really? Tama ba?
Yeah, it's 7 plus 6, so 13 na po.
Returning?
7 po yung incumbent, 6 are returning senators. They're former senators. Okay. 12 lang po yung ano. So is it the normal occurrence or this is unprecedented?
Here's the thing about midterm elections, and I think it's also true in the United States because I follow both Trump and Hillary. that the midterm elections is very important for the presidential elections. And the Senate is the institution where and no offense to the House of Representatives, the big fights happen. And I think this is true in the United States as well. From the way, from what I read, from what I get from the social media. So midterm elections, we have to encourage the people to come out and vote, because the senators are very important in our democracy, and they will be crucial. They are crucial now, and they will still be crucial in preserving our democracy. So you ask me why there are so many who are running? Because it's a prelude to the 2022 presidential elections. And of course, the name recall. They figure it's easier for them to run because there's already name recall. I didn't know that. 13 sila. Sir Josmeño is also running.
You have a question from the Inquirer po.
Ma'am, good afternoon po. Joe Vicky po sa Inquirer. Itatanong ko lang kung ano ho yung timeline natin na tinitingnan para ma-cleanse itong list.
DQ? Okay. Kasi November 29 substitution Diba? Which list are you talking about?
Final list po of candidates.
For now our deadline is December 15. And then the last day for substitution of candidates is November 29. So we can expect it by December 15. Yes, the last day for substitution by political parties is November 29.
Just to reiterate, the final substitution is allowed until November 29. The final list of candidates will be out by December 15. Right?
Yes, because that's when we print the ballots. Right? Remember when we moved the filing? We moved the filing because the date is crucial for preparing our ballots. That's why we could not extend it, after October 17.
Okay. Joyce.
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Sa December 15?
Hi, ma'am.
Because on December 15, Commissioner Casqueo said, we will load the name of the candidates. What else will happen on December 15? He promised me he will not speak, but now he will make him.
So it's crucial to have the final list on December 15 because our EMS in our system, we are going to load the names of the candidates. That is for the printing starting on January. So that's why we have a deadline to cleanse, to decide all nuisance candidates or disqualifications before December 15.
Hi, ma'am. Good afternoon. I'm Joyce Bok from CNN Philippines. Ma'am, in the last 5 days, we saw a number of political parties relatively less known as compared to the bigger ones, fielding several candidates, also relatively less known as compared to the incumbents, the high-profile personalities. Ma'am, what do you make of these na parang marami ngayon nang tumatakbo ng mga ganitong kandidato?
Personally, I like it. That there are a lot of political parties because the Constitution says we are a multi-party system. Personally, when I evaluate the petitions, I'm very liberal in registrations of political parties because in a democracy, the more, the better. The more choices the people have, the better for our country. But you mean local parties? There are a lot of registration for local, regional parties.
Even national parties.
Yes. We also have, I think, more regional parties and local parties, yes. Because to analyze and Director Rojas has to analyze this. Do we have more local candidates running under local parties? Or under national parties? Or under the coalition with national parties? Because that will be a new thing. And the reason for that may be that there are some major parties that issued 2 certificates of nominations, which we are supposed to hear tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Of course, it's public knowledge. That's one of them is PDP Laban. So I think that has affected the decision of local candidates to run under their local parties.
Ma'am, is it a guarantee for senatorial aspirants at least na if they have political parties, they would be, they can be easily approved to run next year?
Okay.
Say again.
For example, if someone has a political party, is it a guarantee that her application would be approved, that he or she would be allowed to run next year?
Not as a Renaissance candidate.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, it depends on their circumstances the next election. Because circumstances change.
So it's not a guarantee if you have a political party, you'd be allowed to run. Even if you have a party, you may still be rejected?
As a nuisance candidate, yes, yes. For example, there's one candidate, a perennial candidate, who always running and they declare him a nuisance candidate. I don't think he's a nuisance candidate. I thought he would come in today and file. I was waiting for him at the gate. He's also from UP. So I'm disappointed that he did not file. Because some people think he's a nuisance. I don't think he's a nuisance. So this is where appreciation of evidence and law and rules will come in. And every commissioner has 1 vote. The chair has also 1 vote. And we do study this really seriously. And we discuss these issues very, tediously before we decide, which group gets the registration or which CONA we're going to invalidate. So, well, if their group is not the registered party, it's not the genuine registered political party representative, then their candidates who have filed their candidacies using that CONA will be deemed to have filed as independent candidates.
Thank you.
So tomorrow,
May hearing tomorrow. So, okay, so one more.
Sorry. Hello po, Catherine Gonzalez from Incar.net. Ask ko lang po, now that the COC filing is over, what will be the next preparations to be done? What are the next steps po?
Commissioner Casquejo will answer that question, please.
Well, being the chairman of the steering committee, we are ongoing of our local source code review, and after this filing, there will be motu proprio cases for nuisance candidates, and we are going to cleanse only those qualified candidates that will be heard mabilisan, because we are going to cleanse it by December 15. And some party lists and political parties still pending, and it's already out for resolutions. So we are going to decide it also, because that is crucial with regards to the when it comes to political parties. If that is denied, then they will be declared as independent candidates. And for party list, if their party list application is denied, they will not be considered as a candidate for party list. So yun po yung aming tatapusin before the end of December 15.
Sir, follow-up lang po. What are just for the record, what are the requirements na dapat meron ng isang candidate to be considered qualified para makasama po dun sa final list and hindi ma-declare na nuisance?
Well, we have requirements naman according to law, and then we are going to deliberate it according to what submitted evidence, and may mga Supreme Court decisions tayo. That will be the basis of our decisions to declare nuisance candidate.
Sige po.
For now, they are qualified. For now, no one is disqualified until they are disqualified as nuisance. Okay, so it's not the other way around. It's not the other way around where you have to prove that you're not disqualified. Again, this is a democracy. The rules are such that when you file your candidacy, we accept it. And then you go through a process, which we call due process. And these are all the hearings, etc. You submit all your documents. And then we decide according to law, evidence, and jurisprudence whether you, as a candidate, are a nuisance candidate or not. It's easier that way, is it not? So we just reduce the number. But for now, they are all accepted as candidates for now. Thank you very much.
So that brings the filing of certificates of candidacy for the 2019 national and local elections to a close. Thank you very much, dear commissioners, and thank you to everyone also for keeping us company for the last 7 days. Thank you very much, and good night. Thank you. Request for any request for additional information, statistics, etc., should be directed to the Education Information Department. Okay, they will have the statistics for you. Thank you.
Next time na lang sila.